perspective, absolutely. So these are some of the ground level challenges we need to address in order to facilitate that seamless transition from student to adult. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So I pick up one line what sir said that who is going to find them. So Naveen, I want to you with that question. So you are in the startup ecosystem and you deal with a lot of young people. You were telling backstage that you have you really like working with a lot of students you hire them on a part-time basis or on a freelance basis, and you really like the energy that they bring in. So who's going to fund them? And you think that having a platform like this, let's say like Vananam, having a unified platform will help them, and they need that kind of a thing where everything is, they can go to this one person platform and get that access.
Absolutely. To start with, any kind of student or an entrepreneur with a budding idea, the main problem that they see is to move from an idea to use. Right? So to make that possible, there are a lot of hurdles that they actually go through. So it can start with a simple fact that how they can actually implement that idea on the ground. So it comes with the challenges of whether you have the necessary skills with you and whether you have the right team with you to actually execute it. And the third thing comes in whether there is a market need and also adaptability of whatever product or the idea that they're thinking. So all these things comes into one place where they actually move from idea to POC. So for this, the main thing that they would need is mentoring. Before you even think of funding, they need mentoring. So this is where platform like Vananam or Pico or the companies which are actually helping the budding entrepreneurs will actually make a lot of sense. Because here, people or students or the budding entrepreneurs, they will be helped in a way that they can streamline, structurize, where they can focus on smaller success before they can actually get into making a bigger growth or actually making a bigger sense of this entire idea. And of course, when it comes to funding, the very early stage where they actually look for seed funding, it becomes kind of a hurdle because there will be a lot of small fundings that they get, and there are also people who would be interested to do some kind of small funding to them. What happens is from the compliance part and also to actually take money from multiple people into that one place, it kind of becomes a very big hazard. So that is where, as I said, a unified platform like Vananam will be a great help for raising the early stage seed fund or probably the initial support that any kind of startup would require. So it will make a lot of sense. And coming back to the most beautiful thing of actually utilizing students' energy and skill set for startups, I would say both my earlier startup, which had a successful exit, and also the present startup, I started with my very first workforce with students because they have the energy and the zeal to go to the market and do and achieve and experiment whatever they can from their side. And they don't come up with the mindset of an employee. So they come up with the mindset of learning things. So that is where it helps a lot of startups in terms of actually utilizing that energy from students, and also this kind of becomes a platform where students also get to know how a startup works, what it requires, and how, if I have an idea, where should I start, what kind of groundwork should I do. So all these things would be a great help for students.
Absolutely. Now I want to pick up on another point which sir just mentioned, that at this juncture, it's very important that there is some intervention from the government's part. So that you help with policy making, you give suggestions to the government regularly on how do we formulate the policies and how do we create that vision for the future of the country. So what do you have to say at this point? Even we had national education policy in 2020. Was that enough, or do you expect a lot for me? Sir is smiling a bit. Maybe I'll come to him after this question. So, what more needs to be done at this juncture?
Thank you, Shefali, and just to explain to the audience a little bit more about BBSS. We are the Finance Professionals Association and think tank, which the core of it is to bring out some policy suggestions and bring out the vision, as you rightly said. And our membership are chartered accountants, company secretaries, cost accountant, bankers, stock market participants, and all those people. So definitely, related to what Professor Saab said and what Naveen said. But coming back to the question, Shefali, that you asked me, particularly what do I think about where we are on, especially on the national education policy. See, in corporates, I also work in a corporate, policy is just the starting point. And I think the same applies to as a nation also. Policy is there, but that gives a framework. But to execute the vision of the policy, we need to do many, many baby steps. And I'm sure the direction is there. But a lot needs to be done, as I'll agree with Dr. Dang also. Especially, if I try and compare what is the ecosystem that is available in metros and what is the ecosystem that is available in non-metros or tier 2, tier 3, there is a huge difference. And the difference is not only that, generally people will say, no, there will be more facilities and, more mentorship and more guidance in metros, but also the challenges, the problems that can be solved in those places are totally different. So, what I'm trying to say here is that knowledge is power, but knowledge of different places is something that has to be kept in mind. And when I talk about the potential of these non-metros, especially these days, whatever Honorable Finance Minister spoke about, the focus areas from the government side, they are all the topics related to agri-tech, they are topics related to millets, she spoke about, climate. Those things are, something that I think some solutions can really come from non-metros, because already the lifestyle, the small solutions that are already existing in India somewhere, they are the ones which need to be brought to the fore, using the technology, using the ecosystem. Now, coming back to how to do it, as you rightly questioned, the how to do it is basically we need to come out of that mindset of looking only at metros as the whole world. So, for example, let's take an example that it is not even a problem for any of the people who are here in Bangalore that we won't get a food on delivery. But let's go back to place like Ludhiana in Punjab, or some of the country location in Karnataka or any other state. There, people will still be going back to home, having lunch and coming back to the factory, for example. Right? So I know that there is a startup which started very basic with a basic investment of some 50,000 rupees and 1 lakh rupees. They started in Ludhiana, very basic. They 4 or 5 people, they came together. They started delivering food, delivering items within that small city within a 30 minutes duration, and now they are into at least 5 to 6 different tier 2 cities, because the problem is there. But the other problem that startup is facing is how to shift from non-metros to metros, because their business model is different. The technology investment that is required is much lower as compared to to serve a place like Bangalore. So what I'm trying to say is it is very difficult for people who are successful in tier 2 to come back to tier 1, and people who are successful in tier 1, for them it doesn't make any sense to go to tier 2. So this is a clear divide, and then from the policy point of view and from the education mentorship point of view, we need to keep this in mind. That is my initial takeaway.
Okay, so I'll put this question to all three, very free to answer. So you spoke about the differences in how the startups come up and the challenges in urban and non-urban areas. So how crucial is obviously technology has a crucial role to play. How easy can it make the journey ahead in inclusion, going forward, be it smaller areas or let's say women entrepreneurs. I'll say women entrepreneurs in smaller areas because it's even more challenging for them to take this up. So can technology make things easier going forward?
think technology alone, technology is just an enabler. Right? Along with the technology, what we really need is the strong will by the government to help us. Okay, so that is when I think something good will come out of it. Not just the technology. Technology is whatever said and done, it is just an enabler. Okay, if we really want to include the thing that you said, rural women, small, micro entrepreneurs, right? Then you need to have that the complete different ecosystem, facilitated, supported by the government, can bring in some good change, tangible change. Just to quote an example, there is one Deshpande Foundation in Hubli, run by Guru Raj Deshpande, whom we popularly known as Desh. Amazing work. We started a program called Navodyami, small micro entrepreneurs from that region. So we need more people like Desh, more foundations like Deshpande Foundation. If not them, then at least the government should come forward and create those kind of small hubs which will encourage and empower these small micro entrepreneurs from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. It is my take.
Naveen, before I come to you, sir, if you could answer one more question, because we were talking about national education policy, so coming back to that, because it's a very crucial part of the entire discussion. Which are the areas which are still left behind and what should be done?
Right?
Yes, any and policy overall.
Yeah. As a policy, it's very good, very nicely laid out and considered all scenarios, possibilities, and it's good. Policy-wise, no second thoughts. A lot of groundwork was done, a lot of feedback was taken from various stakeholders, a lot of vetting was done. Right? So absolutely fine. But again, coming back to Naveen's point, okay, implementation is going to be the challenge for such versatile policy which is going to affect so many people across board. Are we ready for that? Right? In a hurry, some governments, I don't want to name them, they just want to be the pioneers and without any groundwork, without any preparation, they just launch an EP and enforce upon the institutions. But it's not going to take us anywhere. As a philosophy, as a policy, as a thought process, is extremely good. But equal emphasis has to be given on how you are going to make it happen at the institutional level. Okay, आप exit की बात कर रहे हो. Okay, whenever the student wants, he can exit. But do our system allow that? Go to tier 3 cities in government colleges or what for that matter private colleges. They don't even know what is an API, what is academic bank of credits, how it is going to work, who is going to maintain that, and who is going to award what, and whether my student will be accepted by some other institution because their admission policies are different, my admission policy is different. I am a government institution, it's a private institution. So many, what do you call, loose nuts, okay, which we need to be figuring out and try to make it happen. So long way to go, long way to go. So that is my take.
Yes, Shefali, I would like to just add on to what Dr. Nai said. You rightly mentioned at the start of the discussion that we are having this policy and a lot of effort is being done, and you specifically asked a question about the role of enterprises like Vananam. So I think that is where the gap that is being highlighted by Professor Saab, I think that can be filled up and that needs to be filled up, and there cannot be one player or two players, we need multiple players. One of the examples that I will give is, most of the founders with whom I have been interacting for the startup, they know exactly what they want to, what is the problem that they want to solve, they know exactly what is the product or service they have to offer. But they have no visibility about how to get all those procedures done, how to get those registrations sorted out, what is the meaning of this TAM, blah, 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 all these things, And at the end of the day, everyone after, especially, watching Sony TV, so much of flash, everyone is already hoping that I am going to be, somewhere in the Shark Tank and then later on become a billionaire. So immediate gratification is a psychological problem that has already started to creep. So all these incubation centers, I think, not only about giving a coaching about the product side which they are already aware of, but also about the procedural side of it, the financial side of it, the corporate side, governance side of it, and how the investors will eventually come. That has to be end-to-end package needs to be given through the educational institutions, and it is not going to be easy. It may be easy for the kind of products or startups for the metros, because we already have a good example in US. We are trying to build it over here or something like that. But if we are trying to address the problems that our Honorable Finance Minister spoke about, you may not really have those precedents. So we have to be innovative. So I think stage has come where India needs to take the lead rather than just copy paste. This is my take on this.
Naveen, last question to you, and then one more question. So you think this is the solution for practical implementation, that every college, every school should have a sort of a mini incubation center or some sort of cell, entrepreneurial cell that can help? Right of tenure institutes have that. So you think that will help?
Sure. So before that, and I want to expand on the inclusivity part. If you know that inclusivity has been a topic, especially in startups, for quite a while. And probably in the last 2 to 3 years, especially the government side also has done a lot of work around it. If you see, Startup Karnataka has 2-3 initiatives, whether it is Idea to POC or Elevate Community, which is especially focused on rural areas in the northern part of Karnataka and everywhere. So these are the initiatives, especially from the government side, which actually lifts up the enthusiasm of the budding entrepreneurs. So that is already there. Just that, as I told earlier, when you have an idea, the biggest struggle for an idea to become a reality is moving from POC to business on the ground is mentoring. So that is where there is a lack of connection that is still not actually connected. So that is where we need to work on. And mentoring, again, it can be like at the college level and also at the vocational training level. Now vocational training as AVP has a rule for vocational training, whether in the industries or for any kind of skill-based training. But there, what happens is, they are specifically trained for only one particular skill. Now, coming back to the question that you are saying, actually, these kind of incubators at the multiple tier 2, tier 3 cities, of course, that is also possible, and also at the college level or the institute level, that is also possible. But before that, if we can implement something like in the curriculum, saying that probably 2-3 months or probably a single month to go and join a startup and explore all the possible business sides or probably the operations side, wherever they have interest on. So that is going to be a game changer, because they will get to know and get a hands-on experience how a startup works. Because particularly a corporate works and in a particular way the startup works, there is a huge difference. People get to know when they work with these kind of companies, and they will get an understanding of how actually a startup works in a different way than a corporate, because there are no rules set as in every day the rules changes. You actually improve yourself on a daily basis. So these kind of probably I can say curriculum based or in a structurized way, that can be possible. And as you said, normal small incubators at the university level, it will also take a lot of interest for the students to take up entrepreneurship.
Sir, last question to you. Before coming, when I was reading about this entire topic, and I spoke to a couple of students and a couple of friends also. So, a sort of combined question from both, which is slightly philosophical, because even though everybody is, a lot of young people are excited about doing their own startup, but at the same time, we are Indians, and Indian parents, they put a lot of pressure on kids to become something like learn coding at age 6 or become a public speaker. There are so many courses for kids these days. But at the same time, it puts a lot of pressure also. I mean, just on a very light note, because this is a students' discussion. Recently, when Rishi Sunak became the Prime Minister, there was a meme going on that Sundar Pichai is under pressure because his parents are pressurizing him that, okay, now you also have to become the Prime Minister. So we come from that mindset, Indian parents and Indian society. So entrepreneurship at a young age, philosophically, is it good? And if it is the right path, then what is the right way for collectively as a society taking it up? That itself is a huge challenge.
So what I teach this course, right? I am an entrepreneur who failed miserably. Was fair with of amount. I struggled with that enterprise for 10 years. When I couldn't do much, in March I came back to academics, so I'm teaching that course. So what is important today is building that entrepreneurial thinking, entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial attitude is more important than thinking about transforming them into entrepreneurs. They may become entrepreneurs, they may not become entrepreneurs. But even if they are working for somebody, for example, I am working as a director of an institution, I should think like an entrepreneur. I should walk like an entrepreneur. I should talk like an entrepreneur. I should behave like an entrepreneur. I should take that ownership, make things happen, deliver the results whenever it is required. So that kind of mindset is the purpose of education. Not to transform them into entrepreneurs. Because my professor from Miami used to say, right? आप अगर zebra को yellow color मारेंगे तो वो zebra ही रहेगा, वो tiger नहीं होगा. So that is how it is. Ultimately, at some point of time, at some inflection point, some turning point, when the things are favorable and when his financial condition is kind of stable, definitely he will take a plunge. If that is there in his mind and that problem is bothering him and he wants to solve that problem, may not be now, maybe after 10 years, he will go to US, earn some good money, come back and then work on that problem. Okay, so transforming them into entrepreneurs shouldn't be the objective, but building those entrepreneurial mindset, attitude, thinking should be the objective. That's where Sir touched upon the right point, saying that these e-cells should do a lot of activities. At our institution, we do Venture Fest, wherein we divide all students into, in each team there are 10 students. They have to work, pick a problem, build an idea, develop a model, then master the resources. Actually, they have to run the venture for 2 days in a real market scenario. Generate revenue, earn profit, and prove themselves. So these kind of pedagogical initiatives would certainly help in bringing those mindset changes. So that should be the objective, not making them entrepreneurs. Sundar Pichai will remain Sundar Pichai. Okay. I mean, if it is there in his mind to become a politician, at some point of time, the things are favorable, he will become. Okay, but you cannot force somebody to, look back. I mean, when Dhirubhai Ambani was there, what kind Nothing. Now we are talking about all big things and ecosystem and this and that. So I think that should be our objective.
But the mindset is the most important thing. Any of you wants to add something?
Just wanted to make one point, Shefali, that apart from being entrepreneurs, startup ecosystem, when we say, they also need employees. So the attitude of the employees of startups also needs to be a little entrepreneurial. It can't be the typical corporate mindset. Otherwise, people can't adjust. So when we talk about mentorship and curriculum and national education policy, I think that point of view, I just wanted to make sure that this point also is brought out when these kind of curriculum, trainings and things are devised. And we have been listening to solving the problem of employment. And my take on this is that rather than solving the problem of students, we need to solve the problem of employers. Because on one side, the potential employees, they feel that okay, they are not getting the jobs, but when you go to employers, they say we don't get the good candidates. So there is a clear gap, and that is where when we talk about startup ecosystem, getting employees is even more difficult. So in the curriculum that has in the incubation centers, these kind of things have to be brought out, and it has to be directly linked with the need of the employees.
Example, something like internship with the startups.
Exactly. Yes.
1 month or 1.5 or 2 months. What will it become? What will it start? So somewhere they will get that.
See, the one thing that we have seen in entrepreneurs is like, entrepreneurs who want to make it big, is the fear of failure. But the real entrepreneurs will never have that because they enjoy the entire journey. They do not look at the success at the very beginning because they are trying to solve a problem. And they are also part of the problem. They would have gone through the same thing. So that is what makes difference. As Professor rightly said, you cannot transform people to become entrepreneurs, but when you see the spark, the only thing that we can do is be right next to them and mentor them with the right time. That is what we can do. And we as an entrepreneurs, if we can pick up at least one company or one budding entrepreneur to mentor them at least once in a year, I guess we will make a lot of sense of calling ourselves as a successful entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And with that thought, we wrap up this discussion. And I really enjoyed this freewheeling sort of chat. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and I hope you all also enjoyed this conversation. So, and now we'll move on to the next panel, which is about struggles or the challenges that the women entrepreneurs face. So, ma'am, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you.
ತುಂಬ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ.